Every room makeover has a beginning, but this one had a long, winding prelude. This room was the mystery I kept avoiding, the space I didn't quite know how to approach, the one that held more potential than I was ready to deal with or that I could even see. But once I started, the story unfolded, and now we're here. This is part 3 of The Forgotten Room. It's all about the details, the textures, and the pieces collected over time that will bring together and turn this space into what it was always meant to be. Before we get into the details and the final reveal, we need to rewind it all the way back to where this makeover really began. Part 1 is the part no one glamorizes. It's the part that never makes it onto Pinterest, and the part where you question every life choice that led you to owning a nail gun and a gallon of spackle. When I first walked into this room, it wasn't just outdated and bland, it was tired. There was no personality, no pizzazz, nothing. The walls were covered in this ugly brown-colored paint. It wasn't a blank canvas. It was a brown dungeon with zero personality and even less charm. So part 1 was about stripping the room back to nothing, giving it a chance to start over. The first thing we did was clear the dust, and we're not talking the cute, oh look, a little dust bunny kind of dust. I'm talking about the kind of dust that makes you wonder if you should be wearing goggles and a respirator. Every swipe of that cloth revealed a little more of the room's actual bones, and honestly, it was the first time I could even see a hint of potential. Then came the walls, and let me tell you, these walls had stories. There were nails, screws, hooks, and anchors, big ones, the kind you only use when you're hanging something heavy enough to survive a small earthquake. Removing them felt like an archaeological dig. Every time one came out, it left behind a crater that absolutely demanded attention. So I patched and I patched and I patched some more. Small holes, big holes, mystery holes, all of them got filled. The giant anchors left behind scars that needed multiple rounds of spackle just to stop looking like portals to another dimension. But slowly, the walls really started to smooth out. The room started to breathe again, and for the first time, it actually felt like we were moving forward. Once everything was filled, sanded, and smooth, the room finally started to resemble a blank state. No more clutter on the walls, no more distractions, no more reminders of whatever this room used to be. Just clean surfaces, open space, and the quiet promise of what it was going to become. Part 1 wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't fast, and it definitely wasn't the fun part, but it was necessary, because before you can build something beautiful, you have to clear out what's holding you back, and that's exactly what we did. Part 2 was all about bringing the room back to life, and that started with the moment I'd been waiting for, choosing the wall color. I went with White Dove by Benjamin Moore. That is my go-to color, and you can find it throughout my home. They consider it an off-white, but it's soft and bright and timeless, and it instantly lifted the entire space. This room doesn't get much natural light, so the goal was simple. Make it feel open, calm, and breathable, and White Dove did exactly that. The second it hit the walls, the brown dungeon energy was gone. The room felt lighter, fresher, and ready for the drama that was coming next. And that drama came in the form of a focal wall. I picked up faux shiplap panels, the perfect way to get that clean architectural texture without the cost or chaos of a traditional installation. But these panels weren't just going up as is. They were about to become the star of the room. So I sanded them down, I primed them with my gray primer, and then I painted them in a bold, moody color, Sherwin-Williams Indigo Batik. This color is deep, rich, and full of character, exactly what this room has been missing for years. And I knew from the moment I chose it that the brass lights were going to absolutely pop against it. That warm metallic glow against that inky blue, yes please, pure perfection. And pairing it with the White Dove walls made the whole room feel cohesive, intentional, and beautifully balanced. But part 2 wasn't just about paint. It was about building the architectural details that make this room feel finished. We prepped and painted the cornices, giving them a fresh, crisp look that frames the windows like a piece of custom millwork. Many of you will remember that early 19th century Victorian vanity I made over. If you haven't seen that, I'll pop it above for you to check out. I knew when I saw that piece that this was mine. The shape of the mirror and the harp around it captivated me. Everything about this piece I knew was staying with me. The character that this brings to this space is unbelievable, but it's also utilitarian because I do plan on using this to do my makeup and my hair, you know, girly things. Unfortunately, it did not come with a bench when I found it on the side of the road. I remembered a 1910 piano stool that I restored, and I thought that that was absolutely perfect for this space, and I was right. Everything about it screams character, and it's just another layer of detail to grab your eye. I knew I also wanted to keep the decor on the vanity very simple, and I had been collecting pieces for a while to put on there, so the fun part came in deciding where things were going to go. I don't know what I love more, my hand-painted lady vase head holding my makeup brushes, or my vintage Avon perfume bust. Which one's your favorite? I also had a few thrift flip glow-ups I wanted to get to. One of those was the makeover of this vintage hamper. The complementing color that you are going to see me use throughout this room is going to be green. Various shades of green. Moss green, hunter green, sage green. We'll see it in pillows, we'll see it in plants, we'll see it around the room as visual pulls for our eyes, and we're also going to see it in this hamper. I also decided to give my antique milk jug a new finish, something a little bit more appropriate for the transformation the room was going through. And lastly, I want to talk about the windows for a moment, because this actually got left out of part 2. Because of the style of window I have, the existing blinds were installed on the outside of the window, but that doesn't work with a cornice, because that interferes with the ability to use the cornice rod to hang a curtain. And because of the inside of the window, I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to use and what I was going to be able to find, and lo and behold, Amazon had exactly what I need. Surprise, surprise, right? I found this gorgeous linen Roman shade, and there is no hardware involved. You measure your window. It works on a spring-loaded system that installs easily. Once you have it in there, you simply tighten it in place, and that is literally it. The cornice was 10 inches wider than my window, but I used that to my advantage. That allowed me to put the panels on and really push them off to the side, giving me the maximum amount of window pane and the maximum amount of natural light possible. These simple but gorgeous navy panels came off of Amazon, and they are room darkening and very, very heavy. Very good quality. For part 3, we are going to finish off this room and make it all about the details. One of those details is this gorgeous bronze lamp. It has the most gorgeous ornate brass base on it, but the lampshade had to go, so I found a true-to-period style lampshade off Amazon for a very decent price, and man, did it transform this lamp. I decided to surround this beautiful lamp with more thrifted treasures and a gorgeous antique mirror behind it that's going to bounce light around this room. You'll see me use them a lot in here for that purpose. But this corner still needs one thing. Scott and I found this gorgeous antique swan and hop candelabra. It's solid brass. It is absolutely beautiful, but it was missing the crystals. However, that did not deter me from buying it. The crystals are an easy fix. I got glass crystals off of Amazon for a very reasonable price and was able to put them back on this beautiful piece. They catch the light amazingly, bouncing rainbows all over my room. It goes so well on this wall next to the lamp. It kind of cohesively finishes this off as a vignette with that picture, and I love it. Scott's dresser used to be in a very dark corner and was an absolute catch-all for everything. But through the process of removing, cleaning, and editing what went back on there, it looked really nice and fresh and clean and uncluttered. And oh yeah, he was just thrilled with the bear and the bunny on there. But hey, I thought they were cute. I had 3 very French-inspired items that I had thrifted long ago for this makeover. I thrifted this Schmid porcelain Courtings Couples music box that plays a Mozart tune at the 4-H fair this year for a whopping $3. Yeah, seriously, $3. I am in love with this. This is a very collectible item, and I could not believe that I got it for as little as I did, but I knew when I saw it I had to have it. Same holds true for the next two items. I was lucky enough to thrift a pair of boudoir lamps for $12, which is an absolutely unheard of and incredible price. The bases are ornate brass, and the lamps are hand-painted porcelain resembling a French-inspired noble couple. Not sure about the shades, but I think I'll live with them for a while I decide. The trifold mirror is also another treasured find from my last trip up to Bar Harbor. This mirror is from the late 1800s with beveled glass. I don't know what it was originally on, but I know it sits nicely on my dresser, and I paid $90 for it. It's very heavy. I decluttered this corner. I put my adorable blanket holder over there and kept it very simple. I don't even need a light really over here. It's so bright. And this is natural light, and look at how bright and beautiful it is. I am so obsessed. There were a couple more treasured pieces that I had found thrifting and antiquing that I wanted to get up on the walls. One is this gorgeous old coat rack. I thought it would look beautiful over the vanity holding my hats. And the other is this gorgeous porcelain kitten climbing the wall. I had one of these growing up. It was on the outside of my grandmother's house. I remember it was on the covered front porch. I just have a total nostalgic feeling looking at this cat. It makes me happy. I love it. And I was so excited to get a hold of it for only $12. There was another item more valuable to me than a gold bar that needed to go back up in this area, and that is this adorable little jewelry hanger. My papa made this for me in 1978, and I have had it and loved it since then. It is my most prized possession ever. It means more to me than anything I have, and I love that it has a beautiful place next to my gorgeous vanity, really finishing off this corner perfectly. For a maximalist, I'm not doing too bad with editing and not overcrowding the space, I think. If I'm wrong, by all means, give me a reality check in the comments down below. Then came my favorite additions, the picture rail. It adds height and charm in that New England character I love so much. The pegs are just another decorative element. Maybe I'll hang something off of them, maybe I won't, but it brings your eye to the top of the blue, cohesively pulls everything together, and it just adds another layer and element to this focal wall. And because my ceiling line is not straight whatsoever, this was the perfect way to disguise that, because you just can't tell anymore. And true to my word, I covered up that hideous copper I put on those gorgeous appliques on the cornices, and they are now absolutely perfect. When I started this makeover, all I had was a blue and white quilt in a room I didn't know what to do with. And yet somehow that quilt became the compass towards the vision. And today, it's another layer of the story. I want to add that splurging on good bedding is an absolute must in my book. We spend so much of our lives there. It needs to feel like a retreat, not an afterthought. It needs to be inviting and warm and cushy and comfy and all of those feelings that make you want to climb in, spend about 8 hours in there, and get a great night's sleep while you're doing it. This new bedding gives me that soft, grounded base that I've been craving. It's calm yet cozy and cool, which is more important. This gorgeous set came from Target. It was $120, and it's made of 100% bamboo. It's a life-changing experience. Layers are where a room starts to feel lived in and loved. And for this space, the forgotten room that I avoided for years, that's very important. It is so funny how something so small can hold the entire story. This quilt was the first spark, the first hint of who this room wanted to be. I wasn't sure which direction we were going, but the quilt did, and I guess that's all that mattered. So, I'm giving it its place of honor. Right here, center stage, exactly where it belongs. A finishing touch that ties the beginning to the end. And as you can see, the forgotten room isn't forgotten anymore. And neither is this gorgeous quilt that brought this dream to reality and brought this room to life. Every home has that one room that's just patiently waiting for the day that you decide to give it the attention it deserves. And I have to say, this poor room waited years for that day to come. This was the space that just held the overflow of my life. Laundry waiting months to be put away, dust I just completely ignored. Anything and everything I didn't want to face was thrown into this room. Literally. Even sleeping in this space was a disruptive process until finally enough was enough and it was time to give this room the attention it deserved and that I craved. And then somewhere in between all of the prep work of the sanding and the painting, this room started to wake up. It started revealing what it wanted and what it needed. Bright and bold, yet soft around the edge. It's layered, it's collected, it's intentional, but more importantly, this space is now inviting. Every brushstroke, every thrifted find you see, every intentional layer you see in this space is what gave this room a pulse and brought it back to life. And boy, did it bring it back to life. And now it feels like the forgotten room actually has its own story. It's no longer forgotten. Chaos is gone, the corners make sense, and the light hits differently. What you see here is all natural light. I have not added any light to this whatsoever, and I cannot get over how bright this looks. Even on camera, I can see how bright this is, and I've never had that before in this space. It was always a very deep, dark dungeon, and now it's become a space that I only thought possible in my dreams. And this focal wall, I am over the moon in love with how this focal wall came out. I really wasn't sure about it as I was going. I didn't know if the vision in my head was truly going to translate into what I wanted it to, and I have to say it exceeded any and every expectation I had in a major, major way. That moody deep blue, those gorgeous brass lamps, and the decor against it all seal the deal with elegance and luxury. And the best part is, it was all thrifted, and I am gonna love changing out the art on that wall according to my mood and the seasons. That's gonna be really fun. This room started with a blue and white quilt that slowly started to pull the entire vision into focus for me. One choice led to another. Color here, a texture there, a layer over here, and all of these thrifted treasures that are woven into every single detail of this room make it a space that I am so proud of and so in love with. You guys have to let me know, what do you think of this space? Did I nail it or did I fail it? Pretty sure I nailed it. The room exceeded my vision, and there are still a couple details that I need to take care of. I still do need to find a replacement door for my bedroom. The tanning bed went through that when we were trying to get it out of here, and we've never replaced it, and it looks like crap. So that is on my list. I will find a door to go there. Maybe I can find an antique door. That would be wonderful. And there was also another project I wanted to get to, which was building a frame around my TV so it didn't just look like a big black square on my wall. But I bought the wrong size molding, and we're gonna end it where it is, and we'll pick that project up together and learn how to make one together, because I got to get different molding to do it. I don't have the right stuff, so that will also come in the future. But those are really the last two projects on this entire bedroom makeover that will need any type of addressing. I love spending time in here now. I don't like getting out of bed in the morning. I look forward to going to bed at night. And this transformation has gotten the bug going in me, and I cannot wait for the next one because I have a few more rooms that need some serious attention. It's been quite the journey. It's been messy. It's been chaotic. It's made me question my sanity and why I even started this project so many times, but it was ultimately worth it in the end, and it's honestly one of my most favorite transformations to date. There's more coming. I hope you'll join me for the next one. Will it be as epic as this? I don't know. I guess you'll have to stick around to find out, because until then, we have some major projects to get to in the studio, and I cannot wait to get in there with you and get them going. Well guys, thank you for joining me for this short little 3-part series on the Forgotten Room. It's no longer forgotten anymore, that's for sure. So until next time, stay grounded, stay glowing, and always stay in your element. Bye, friends.